to go to China in order to reach people who haven't heard God by showing His love and to teach English to high school juniors and seniors in 2 different schools. Okay, this is Team FBC, and we're just showing you guys how cool we are. And all right, so there were about 160 teachers altogether from Australia, Canada, Hong Kong, Brunei, and then our church, another Walnut Creek Church in Pennsylvania, and one guy from Texas. And there were about 350 to 400 students at 2 schools. There were 1 school and a number 3 school. All right. So, this is a map of China, because we were in China. And we were in the Guangxi province in the city of Duan. That picture is the view from a hotel room. Yeah, there was 1 hotel in the city, so we booked the whole hotel. Okay, so we were, I guess, gone for 18 days. We started in Hong Kong for 2 days, 1.5 days, and then we went to Nanning to meet the rest of our teachers from all the other countries and to gather last-minute supplies and start prepping and stuff. And then we took a bus to Duan, where we just settled into the hotel. We kind of did some sightseeing in the beginning to see what the school looks like. We were at a school called Yaozhong. It was the number 3 school, and the students lived on campus. And the students are mostly from the mountainous villages, so it took most of their families' money to pay for them to go to this school. So on the weekend, the first weekend, we did mountain climb to visit one of the villages in the mountain. And we visited their homes and a church and a school that was built by WorldShare, who organizes this mission. And that's what we did on the weekend. And we also had various activities with the students. We had the Yaozhong Olympics, which was, each class was a different country, and we just played games, and it was fun. Okay, so I guess I'll just take you through a day. So first we'd wake up bright and early. Okay, enough said. And then we would go down for breakfast, which we had in the hotel restaurant, and we would have devos. Each country group took turns sending up a representative to do devos. Bree did a devo, and then each country also sent up a different worship team. So yeah, we did worship a couple times. And then after that breakfast, morning announcements and stuff, we would get on a bus to the school, or if you didn't get on the bus, you would take a tuk-tuk, which are these little, I don't know how to explain it. Motorized rickshaws. Okay, so then when we got to the school, it was kind of amazing because all our students would be perfectly lined up in this little block. And so we would sing songs, and we would perform skits for them, and yeah, that's a big session. And then we would go to class. There were about 3 or 4 teachers and about 20 students in class. So we were teaching them conversational English, because they were good at reading and writing, but their speaking wasn't that great. So we would help them with that. We would go over consonant pronunciations and vowel pronunciations, vocabulary about things around the city, and dialogues about just basic conversations you would have with people that you would meet. And then we would take them into the multimedia room to do these presentations about the life of 8. So the life of 8 is kind of like the Beatitudes. Well, it is the Beatitudes, and it's ways to live a godly life. We also went over things like creation and evolution and the unchangeables, things you can't change about your life. free time, which was spent like shopping or sleeping or prepping lessons for the next day, and just hanging out, doing laundry. Or we went to the tea store, which was like this milk tea smoothie place. Yeah, it was cool. And then after free time, we went back to the school to do afternoon class bonding time with our students. So that's when we did like the Olympics, the games between all the classes. We would decorate our classrooms and like the themes of our countries. And we had like a special day where we would do basket weaving or just spending time with our students, which was also when we got to share the gospel and share our testimonies, which was great because actually we were allowed to say whatever we want as long as it wasn't during class time. Just because the government really loves this camp, so they didn't want us to stop doing camp, so they just let us do whatever. And then after the afternoon activities, we would go back into the teacher's room for dinner, which was catered from a knockoff McDonald's called the Conkies. It was like they would give you like a bowl of rice, like vegetables and meat, and then like some fried shrimp or stuff. And then we would have evening activities after dinner with our students. Like we watched movies like Narnia and the Jesus movie, and we had festival night, which was just this night where we brought the whole school together, and all the teachers had been training for different activities like spinning plates or face painting and balloon sculpting and things like that. So that was just fun for all the students. And also on the last night we had a concert where each class performed a piece, and the teachers like Roger and Jordan and some people sang one of the Backstreet Boys songs because they love the Backstreet Boys. Okay, and then after the evening activities, we would go back to the hotel, and all the adults would go to sleep, and all the teenagers would eat food and talk and be crazy and cake people on their birthdays and stuff. So yeah, it was fun. Well, in conclusion, I just wanted to thank all of you guys for all those who supported us and financially and in prayer. And just, thank you. We all had such a great learning experience and humbling experience, and it was great to serve God in a safe environment. So, okay, I guess I'll just share one story from my experience. So I had this student named Jack. He was really cool. He was like really excited all the time to learn English, and he was always talking to his teachers and just speaking kind words to other people. And so when I was sick, I got sick on like the second to last day of school, which was really sad. Well, then I came back on the last day, and Jack was like, "Hey, Karinna, I prayed for you." I'm like, "Oh, thank you." And he's like, I realized that prayer works because he prayed to God one day that there would be good weather. And that was one of the only days it didn't rain. And so I was like thankful. I was like, "Oh, thank you, God, for showing him, that prayer really works." So we were talking about prayer, and I asked him if he wanted to be saved. And he said no, because if his family found out that he was saved, then they might disown him and he would have nowhere to go. And so what I told him is, as long as he believed it in his heart, he was saved. And that he could just show God's love to his family through kindness and his service to them. And he said, maybe. And I never got to pray with him. I don't know if he ever did. But he did give me a gift before I left, and he wrote a note that was thanking me just for teaching him and answering all his questions, and that he loves God. So I was really happy about that. And we were blessed to have 7 kids in our class, and we got to pray with them for salvation. So that was exciting. And I think my students just encouraged me and taught me that people are watching everything I do and listening to what I say, so I should just always be on guard and living for God all the time.
This is the day that He has made. we will rejoice and be glad in it, and be glad in it. For this is the day that He has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day that He has made. I wanted to share this song because we sang this song just about every other day when we greeted our students in morning assembly just before we started our school day. The song reminded me on a daily basis I was called to China for a purpose, and each day it gave me opportunities to share my life and faith with others. I was excited and ready to teach English and felt willing to do whatever He had brought into my life. The students in my class were generally attentive and well-behaved, and once we got to know them better, they became more talkative. One day, after one of our Life of 8 lessons, I and the other 2 teachers, I think Roger was one of my 3 and teachers in each of the classrooms. We felt nudged to share our testimony. I was a bit hesitant because we wondered whether we could do it so openly during class time, and we were told to do it in our personal time. But we also felt the nudging, and I think we decided to give our story to the class. And we gave our story of how each of us became Christian. There were some blank stares, we had some doubtful looks, but there were quite a few who wanted to hear more. And one girl actually proclaimed that she was a Christian, was really excited for us and was very talkative. She was very confident of her salvation and really happy that we shared. And I guess during this time, I just suddenly remember that our camp theme song was, "This is the day that He has made." And it made me realize that God was always in charge, that He knew exactly what was going on, and He wanted all of us to be planting seeds and just to do our part when He gave us the day. He will be calling. I guess we didn't feel, we felt the burden of leading someone to Christ, but at the same time, we know we just have to do what He asks us to do each day at a time. That, God wanted me to do our part on the day He made. And this summer, I found that I had to really learn to take time out, breathe deeply, and just prayerfully give my circumstances to God, because I was not in control. Being a bit of a control freak, I like to have things planned and things very orderly. But being in China, in a place that I was not familiar with, and going to this trip for the very first time, there were a lot of uncertainties, and a lot of things were changing constantly. Our camp leaders, Phil and Camp Colin, were very good, and they had warned us to be flexible and be sensitive to all the things that were going on. There were meeting new people, new students, new environment. We're going to a new school, and things could change on a daily basis. And they did change very regularly and constantly. That's why we needed all those morning debriefing, lunchtime debriefing, evening debriefing. Things are constantly in a change of flux. But we learned to take each day daily. And God gave us a day. We were there for a purpose, and each day He would provide opportunities for us. And I think we learned that quite a bit. And it helped quite a bit to know that He was in charge, and I only just did my part and just did the lesson on a daily basis. There was a time when I just felt so frustrated and so stressed that I stayed in, and I was just tired all day to know what was going on. And I was tired. I didn't have as much energy as some of the kids were going on 24 hours. The adults needed rest. And sometimes we couldn't get rest, but we tried. And I stayed in, but during that time I stayed in, I realized that, wow, I was in China. I realized I was in China because of Him, not because of me. Wow, I was eager to be a good teacher to the Chinese students, and I was really anxious to have the FBC team embraced the Chinese culture and learned Chinese. Being in China for the first time was really, I wanted them to have a good time. So maybe I was trying too hard, but I didn't realize, what I didn't realize was God was already connecting them to His global family and energizing them with friendship and opening their eyes to the mission field. And they were just so excited. It was just really happy for me to see that. And I just feel really blessed being able to share that experience with them, and also for me to be a part of worship, because I think they gave me and everyone who participated a really, truly unforgettable summer. And I just feel really blessed to know that China, and for other people to see that China is a really big country. There are lots of opportunities to serve. It doesn't take, there's a tendency for Chinese people to feel that they need certain qualifications, they need also training to be able to serve. But in China, I think if you're willing and God directs you and leads you, you can serve. China's a big country. There's a lot of opportunities, and I'm just really excited about that. And so I encourage you to take a mission trip.
Well, hi, my name is Roger, for those of you who don't know me yet, and I'm going to apologize beforehand because I think my phone has been going off, so I'm going to turn my phone off. Thank you, by the way. Alright, well, the Lord blessed me in many ways through this missions trip. One way that I want to share about is something that happened even before the actual starting date. I spent a week and a half in Shanghai, China, before meeting up with the rest of the gang in Guangxi. I've been to Shanghai many times before, and I even lived and went to school there for 2.5 years when I was a kid. During my time there as a Christian, though, it didn't really strike me that people there had the same need for a Savior as I did. I knew it in my mind, but when I went there, it felt like, Christianity was kind of, foreign to them. God woke me up to the fact that they needed a Savior while I was there. Probably because the upcoming missions trip was directed to people in China. And one moment that it really hit me was when I was walking down the street, surrounded by all the people who spoke not that much English, and Chinese every day, people who lived different lifestyles from me. I was walking down the street and I started singing Glorious Day to myself. And there was a connection between FBC and Shanghai. And I thought, wow, these are people as well who need a Savior. So this is just a very short sharing, but God really blessed me through this way. I kind of had more courage to share the gospel with my grandfather, and so this time, out of all the times that I went to Shanghai, was the first time that I shared the gospel with my grandfather. So yeah, that's my blessing. Thank you.
So unfortunately, Kaitlin couldn't be here. She has a kind of strenuous work schedule. So what we did is we had her, hopefully this works. Very good. So you get to hear, I was going to read her letter in the best Kaitlin voice I could. But, I think that would be more annoying and disturbing to my wife. So I thought it would be better if we actually just heard from her. Now, the sound is pretty weak, so AV team, if you can boost it, we'll see how it goes.
Hi everyone, sorry I couldn't make it out to start this talk about my experience personally. I just want to say it was really fun to go to China, and it was also my first trip to going out of the country and on a trip. I was actually really nervous to go because no one has really loved the country and my family, and it's kind of nerve-wracking. not knowing what would happen and being so far away from home if there was any danger to my health or something. But as we got there and got to settle in, it was really kind of exciting, and I learned to trust God more, and to not worry about those little things like, oh, is my life in danger or something. But it was great to be able to share about God's word with people who don't know or can learn about God. And it really opened up my eyes to how blessed we are in our country. We can learn about God as much as we want and be able to express what we think. But so some of us feel ashamed to learn about God, and we try to fit in with the world and be cool and kind of like push God around. While in like other parts of the country, they can learn about God, and it's kind of heartbreaking to see how we are in America and how people want to learn about God, but they can't in a way. And also the persecution can be a little bit more severe than ours. In China, it's kind of hard for me to communicate with our students at first because they didn't really speak English or didn't open up to me. And I couldn't speak Chinese to save my life. But as time went on, kids were, they really did open up to me, and we were able to learn some English and talk to them. And we did speak through our Mandarin speaker, and I had awesome co-teachers, and that made my experience even better. I was also on the 6th floor, or known as the Australian floor. I wasn't going to the American floor, but that was okay, because really love my Australian friends, especially my roommate. She's really cool, and we had some really good conversations that made me think even more about my life. And I had some Australian friends who were great buds for me, and I didn't feel as lonely as I thought I would have because I wasn't put on the American floor. I even made a great friend. His name is Alistair. He was my co-teacher, and when we first met, it was like, we thought weird things about each other, and then we got closer and became good friends. We were like, yeah, we thought we were pretty weird with each other. Like, who's this girl sitting with my people? Because I was sitting with his friends at breakfast, and he was like, and I was like, who's this weird guy trying to sit with us? And it turns out we were co-teachers, and it was pretty funny to learn about each other. And we only taught English for 2 weeks, but we had a weekend off, and it didn't mean we had to be away from kids. They actually took us to how their daily lives were, and it was really great, and I hope to do it again next year when it's almost pretty cool. And I hope people could tell me out next year we can have that many people accept Jesus into their lives as we want, but it was really great to hear that one student in our class did, and it's okay, even though not multiply of them, like some classes did, have kids receive Christ. Hearing just one student was really easy on the heart for me, and I really loved it. And this is my class. This is the girls. This is my whole class. And I hope you guys can come out next year. July 5th is the next camp. And it really opened up my eyes to learn more about God, and I hope it'll open up your eyes if you guys decide to go. So, hope to see you guys next year, and see you guys soon. Bye!
So yeah, I would like to just say a few things, I guess. From my experience, and I think from the experience of everyone who's gone on a missions trip, it's just been a very eye-opening time. At a time when God really can change people's hearts and change how you view the global church and how you view your relationship with God as well. So we're gonna obviously the missions conference is coming up. We're gonna have an opportunity during that time to actually talk to a lot of these short-term missionaries as well as the missionaries that are visiting. But I really encourage you guys to know as much, to learn as much as you can from these people's experience, and see maybe that's where God is tugging your heart at. It's very impressive, I guess, how a nation as China, even though the government, who is controls almost everything, really wants to suppress Christianity. But there's just a wave of Christianity cropping up in China, and a movement that cannot be stopped. And it was exciting that we could actually get a glimpse, a team of 9 to go into China, get a glimpse of that, and kind of be part of that. And I'm hoping that we there would be a movement in FBC where people would desire to see God, not only outside this church and in their communities, but also in the global world. So thanks. We have a slideshow that was created by Bethany.